the thing about life is usually a candle is gonna burn out. When somebody lights the wick, how do you keep the flame burning? For me, it was lit and it became an eternal flame. It's never gone away, it's never gone out. And I've actually lit other wicks, you know what I mean? I'm looking at myself, a black man from America, traveling the world, with hip hop and art, from Staten Island, New York,
Yep.
right, Brooklyn, New York, born in a hospital. Like, it's funny, the hospital that I was born in, Kings County Hospital,
Okay.
in Brooklyn, New York. The rumor was any kid born there will be dead or in jail by between 21 and 25. That's the life expectancy of people born from that hospital. So it's ironic that, through talent and through also knowledge of self
Yep.
and study
Work.
hard work, able to escape that and then travel the world and share this culture of hip hop,
Yep.
and then see how much the world has changed in its recognition of this same person, like I said to you before, who was, they would say kidnapped from his motherland, brought to another land by another man, separated and caused a fight and kill his own brother, man. You know what I mean? And then to raise up, to be a righteous man.
When did you find that calling, you think, for hip hop?
The calling for me was as simple as hearing the first guy on the microphone at a block party. My cousin, the RZA, takes me to a block party. I was too young to be outside past 8 o'clock.
Yep.
It's probably about 11 o'clock right now, right? And music just had me attracted, but the calling was, the rapper said, dip, dip, dive, and socialize. Clean out your ears and you open your eyes. That was all it took for me.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's what it made sense.
Yeah.
That was your.
That was my
moment?
calling. I became immediately addicted. If it was a religion, I would have been immediately converted. And hip hop became like my calling for my expression, for my music, musical talent and non-talent, right? Even the non-talent of it, right? Because at one point it wasn't considered a talent. I'm 8 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm memorizing what these guys are saying. So when I go back to my 3rd grade class, I can say it. But it wasn't until the 4th grade, at the age of 9, I wrote my first rhyme.
Wow.
And once I wrote my own, I never stopped.
That was it.
Yeah.
Was RZA like a guy for you in that early stage?
Yeah, RZA is my, what we call enlightener.
Yeah.
He introduced me to hip hop. He introduced me to knowledge of myself, the mathematics. So he's my enlightener. Like, he's the one that lit the wick. So how about yourself though? What got you into hip hop?
I think it was that just affinity. Like, I grew up in the 90s. I was born in 86. It was that affinity with seeing something that was black on TV, because, I'm indigenous. Yorta Yorta is my tribe from Victoria. And so seeing something so dangerous and cool, I was like the perfect age for that era of Wu-Tang and Dr. Dre.
Right.
Like, to have both sides.
2 terminals.
Bro, like, I consider myself very fortunate to be that, around that era. And so different at the same time too.
Right.
It was like Dre was super clean and sonic, and then you had like the grit,
Right.
you know what I mean, of Wu-Tang. And, for that, like, we still play those joints now. And you're at the Opera House doing 4 shows for, the 36 chambers.
Yeah, that's crazy to be at the Opera House, because I got a funny story about the Opera House.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, like, opera is its own thing, right? But it is a narrative form of music. You know what I mean? But the funny thing for me in the Opera House, I came to Australia, I think the first time was '08 or something. After I did that movie American Gangster.
Yeah. With
My-
Rusty.
Yeah, with Rusty, yeah. He invited me and my family down. It was something he was doing, I don't know, with the rugby team, and he felt my energy would be useful.
Okay.
And I said, sure, I'll do it. And I came down, right? And we're walking, and I see this building. I'm like, wow, which team plays in that building? He's like, wait, Bobby, it's not no team. It's not no rugby league or basketball team plays here. So that's the Opera House. I was like, yo, it's a beautiful building. Whatever it is, it's beautiful. And that was that. And then of course later I learned about what it was and everything like that. So to come here and being able to perform Wu-Tang music
Yeah.
in the Sydney Opera House, it's really, I call it a capstone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's many venues we played in, whatever, but this, even the name of this signals something different from what I do.
Yeah.
But it also, at the end of the day, commemorates and I would say integrate what I do. Because if you hear Raekwon verse on Cream and Inspectah Deck verse on Cream, it is an opera.
Yeah.
It's a saga.
Yeah.
A man with a dream with plans to make cream was failed. I went to jail at the age of 15, a young buck selling drugs and such, who never had much, trying to get a clutch on what I could not touch.
You hear the verses of Can It Be, or you hear RZA metaphors and Clan in the front, it is operatic.
Yeah.
You even hear the voices of Tears or the voices of some of the samples that I've incorporated throughout the course of our music, right? So it has, so at one point of it, it's like, wow, it's weird, it's awkward, it's almost unbelievable. Then another point is like, no, it makes sense, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And to me, that you and Wu-Tang always stood for unpredictable. And I don't think nobody could predict it, but I feel really good to be here.
What do you think is like the core to that longevity of the Wu-Tang and that album especially?
I think, if I was to say, what's the analogy? Why does Wu-Tang still resonate after 25 years? Well, I would say because the 9 men on that record captures the youth, right, of their lives. And the life that they're going through, many youth are going to travel through that life. And many people are going to be 22 long, hard years, and I'm still struggling.
Yeah.
And survival got me bugging. But I'm alive. Many people are going to go through, settling for lesser.
Yeah.
But the God put lessons on my dresser. You know what I mean? Many people are going to realize that sometime after laughter come tears.
Yeah.
But many people are going to also realize, the fun of, hey, you get off my cloud, you don't know me. This is youthism. And I think that I would call this album like a gateway album.
Yeah.
It's like some movies, when you watch movies like The Breakfast Club, or it's like, why do those movies resonate with people? It's because we passed through that through that high school era in life.
Yeah.
And now it resonates with us. And so I just think that the 36 Chamber, out of all our albums, it's not just about the year we made it. It's actually a culmination of years that got us to that album that's now captured.
Yeah.
Right? Raekwon talk about being 16.
Yeah.
We go back to, maybe even 13 in some lyrics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You catch ODB with his wild energy. You know what I mean? Somebody told me they loved when he said something like, "Punk, you jump up, you get jumped." That's simple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how you feel when you're young. Oh, you want to mess with my crew?
Yeah.
We jumping you.
But he said it was style too.
Oh.
He said it the only way.
The only way.
If anyone else said it, it might not be as fly.
Right, because you know why? Because maybe anyone else didn't have the conviction.
Because you felt like you really would be jumped.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So
I can guarantee you.
Shame on the nigga who tried to run game on a nigga.
Yeah.
It's like, so I think that's the beauty of that album. Even when I listen to it, or we perform it, it just brings back this youthful energy.
Yeah.
I will honestly admit that I'm growing in my physical age, and You know, I still, you know, Wu-Tang Clan, nothing to
Yeah.
fuck with comes on.
Yeah.
I still, you know, I want to jump, I want to go crazy and shit. I was like, I don't jump as high as I used to, but I still can't help but jump. And it's like, wow, what a charged energy
No doubt.
we capture.
Like you're a producer. Like, how do you capture the energy of Old Dirty Bastard? Like, how do you capture that in the studio? Like what he does?
Well, he was a very unique, his name was RZA, unique. He's a
RZA,
very
yeah.
unique individual, right? The thing about him was he always expressed himself freely.
Yeah.
And one thing about him that, you know, I don't know if people know, the verse on Shame on a Nigga, which is, to me, a masterpiece, one take.
Hut 1, hut 2, hut 3, hut.
Old dirty bastard, live and uncut. Styles unbreakable, shatterproof. To the young youth, you wanna get gun, shoot.
He doesn't go back and punch in and let's do it again. Capturing him is actually like capturing a moment,
Yeah.
and that moment becomes it. I remember telling him like, yo, do it again. Because, you know, that's what the producer's gonna say,
Yeah,
right? He was like, nah, that's it.
To a safety.
That's it. And you know what? He was right, because he was like, especially he was like, same old nigga try to run game on nigga, pow. I was like, yo, do that shit again, finish the hook. Nah, nigga, that's it. That's it, God. They gonna love it. So you
He's
know
right.
what? He's right. You know what I mean? So, and what you learn from an artist like that, right, is that it's the unpredictable rareness and uniqueness of the moment that's also part of the creation of the music. And that loses itself, and to me, in today's marketplace, some of that's lost.
Yeah.
Because a guy may send you the beat, right? He may make
Yeah.
the beat Monday, send it to you Friday. You may do your verse the following week, send it back to him and send it back.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's not a capture of time.
Yeah.
When you go back and you watch the old, we had a guy named GB, Joe Barclay, who did our early videos, and he was allowed to be around us early because he was from our neighborhood.
Yeah.
So he was able to come in with cameras early, and he actually filmed us when we was recording Cream.
Okay.
And you'll notice, it's like, it's only 2 guys or 3 guys on that song, but you got 6, 7 guys in the studio.
Yeah.
So Raekwon is in there kicking his verse, but everybody is in there.
The energy.
The energy is there, bro.
Yeah.
And those first albums had that.
Yeah.
It had that attendance. It had that pressure, that pen pressure. When you writing, he's writing, you don't know what he's gonna say,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And nobody wanted to be outdone by each other either.
That was like the first verse triumph, right?
Yeah.
Deck sent, sent everyone back to the drawing board.
Everybody back to the drawing board.
What was your favorite verse from that?
On that song?
Yeah.
I still pass it to Inspectah Deck on that song.
Yeah.
Because
What an intro.
now, incredible. I mean, he's always been setting it off.
Yeah.
He's like an unsung MC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people don't give him the credit he deserves as a MC. I mean, beyond being a part of Wu-Tang,
Yeah.
his approach to lyricism. I listened to one of his old songs. We got a Wu-Tang series going on now,
Yeah.
right? So I have this whole writer's room. And they're tasked with the idea, they have to go and study Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
So, and not just take the stories, but they got to dissect us.
Yeah.
And so they went and found an old song called I Get Down for My Crown.
Okay.
And on I Get Down for My Crown, when they played it in the writer's room, they was like, Inspectah Deck actually sounds the best on that song because his lyrical potency was already evolving.
Word.
And even though Method Man becomes Method Man, right? And U-God becomes U-God, and RZA becomes RZA, Inspectah Deck evolution was already happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you hear him, by the time you meet him on I Bomb Atomically, Socrates' Philosophies and Hypotheses can't define how I be dropping these mockeries.
Lyrically perform.
Armed robbery, flee with the lottery. Possibly they spotted me. Within 4 lines,
Battle Scars Shogun.
explosive with my pen.
It's tremendous. Ultraviolet shine blind forensics. I inspect view through the future, see millennium. Killer be sold 50 gold, 60 platinum. Shackling the masses with drastic rap tactics. Graphic displays melt the steel like blacksmiths.
Point is, just those 4 lines alone is enough to go ahead and start a book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's the magic of Wu-Tang, you know what I mean? Because sometimes, you know, we overlook each other.
There's a lot of you.
Yeah, and you know, you got your own shit.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, yo, check my shit out, nigga, put my shit on. But that's the beauty of it, though. It's like you could go back like a movie and you could find scenes and find things that you may have missed.
I find Wu-Tang lends itself to movies so well. Like, was that massive influence? Because like I know you did the Jim Jarmusch soundtrack for Ghost Dog, and like, was that always part of the plan?
No, that wasn't part of the plan. I to be honest, that was more like I was getting. I think I was evolving and didn't know what the evolution was going to lead me to.
Yeah.
I was making beats. Usually hip hop is 2 bars or 4 bars.
Yeah.
I started making 16-bar phrases before the beat would repeat.
Yeah.
And nobody was rhyming on my shit no more. You know what I mean? Niggas was like, yo. Then you got guys like Mathematics and True Master and Fourth Disciple who are still in the classic realm with it.
Yeah.
Right? Because after I did Wu-Tang Forever, I started to study music theory.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to like advance my brain, and I'm doing circles of fifths all the way to the whole circle and shit, right? Then I'm like, oh, so I can do circles of thirds? Oh, that's even iller, that's jazz. And I'm doing all that, and it doesn't make hip hop sense, right? So when you listen to the song Bobby Digital, B-O-B-B-Y, that loop goes all the way around before it finally goes back to dun, 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 and back to the one. That's like 16 to 18 bars. That wasn't working for the MC. And so when Jim Jarmusch came to me and was like, he's a fan of my music and he wants me to be the composer of his film, I was like, wow, that's kind of weird. And I told him, I said, Jim, I don't know, I never did it before, but it feels like that's what's happening to me without me knowing.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, I think you always have cinematic music and all that. And I didn't know, but I realized, wow, that's what I was doing unconsciously.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I took the time to study it.
Yeah.
And I studied, you know, the first thing I studied was Peter and the Wolf.
Okay.
So in Peter and the Wolf, the composer used the instrument for every animal.
Wow.
So when the bird came, he did a flute.
Yeah.
When the wolf came, he did the drum, drum, the trombone.
Yeah.
You watch Ghost Dog, the first thing you see is a pigeon flying in the air, and you hear my drum beat, but the instrument on top of it is a flute.
Wow.
So I took that knowledge and I never let it go, and I kept studying. Went through Bernstein. I got the books and just went in, bro.
Yeah, hard. So, from what I understand from my like studying of,
I ain't get no
your
questions
career.
in on you and shit. I had to,
but like,
like I want to know more about you too, bro. Cause I mean, you know, for us, right? Just saying in America, right? We are aware of the indigenous, right?
Yeah.
They sometimes call it Aboriginal, right?
Yeah.
You know, first of all, what's the proper way your tribe would like to be addressed by somebody?
well, if you know the tribe and the person from the tribe, you would address them as a Yoda man or woman.
Okay,
So,
Yoda man.
Yeah, that's my tribe.
Okay.
But like the plain definition, like indigenous, Aboriginal, First Nations is all.
That all works?
Yeah, they all
I
work.
can say that.
It's-
And
yeah,
nobody can be like, yo.
but it's all within context. Like Australia was wild. It was like, if you think pre-settlement, Australia looked more like Europe. There was 500 plus nations.
Wow. So we have 500 nations of Aboriginals here as well?
Yeah, in Australia.
That's crazy because in America, the Americas between South and North America, it was 500 Indian nations.
Yeah,
So we're talking about 1,000 nations.
yeah.
That's more. How many nations we got now?
Ah, jeez.
Anybody know what we got in the United Nations right now? 250 about? 200. We got rid of 1,000
Yeah,
and broke it down to 250.
we're definitely underrepresented for sure. You know, that's part of the education, that's part of teaching about what I bring to my music, what I try to bring with my message as a part of teaching. And I learned a lot of that from the artists that I followed in my youth. And I knew that the 36 chamber of Wu-Tang was about teaching.
Yeah.
And that's something I carried
Respect.
with my stuff.
Well, the beauty about that, Briggs, is that, you know, we said Wu-Tang is forever, and we know that we all have a physical expiration date, right?
Yeah.
Right? That's even the president's got it,
Yeah.
right? You can't beat that. But if our music and our message and our energy inspire somebody else to take it to the next level, like, first of all, it's an honor for me to know that, yo, what we did inspire you, and now you out there putting your word out, and I could see somebody else saying, yo, I'm teaching about my culture, my history, right? And also appreciating the history we're in. We are in the Sydney Opera House.
No doubt.
This structure right here, if a book is written 100 years from now, this is in that book. 200 years from now, 300 years from now. Like the pyramids are there, right?
Yeah.
And it's a blessing for us to evolve to a level of life to where we could praise, glorify, educate, and teach our past and accept our present and build to a more positive future.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
The more you teach, the more you learn as well.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my favorite moments ever in music history was ODB at the Grammys. And he jumped up and he said, Puffy is good, but Wu-Tang is the best.
That's right.
And like a lot of people who I talk to, like they see it for the audacious moment.
Right.
But to me, it was like some of the most hip hop, and also like it reminded me of kung fu flicks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right,
my style
my style's better than
my
yours.
school is the
better.
best.
Exactly. And he was right.
1000%.
You know what I mean? He was right. And the strength-
Puffy is good.
Yeah, he's good. But Wu-Tang is the best. And Wu-Tang is for the children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Meaning the children will gain more listening to Wu-Tang than they would listening to Puffy. And that's not a disrespect to Puffy, because Puffy actually one of the first guys to give me a booking at the Red Zone when I was still Prince Rakim.
Huh.
I think he paid me about $500 to come perform at a nightclub. So no disrespect to him. But I will say this real quick, and maybe we're still our way out, right? When we say Wu-Tang is the best, right, and Wu-Tang is for the children, if 10 million people bought the MC Hammer, the P. Diddy song, whatever, right? If they buy that, especially, you know, when we came in, I said this in an old interview.
Yeah.
It said, you know, you guys saying you guys are the best and the greatest because, you know, you just went platinum, but MC Hammer sold 10 million records. How do you compare to that? I said, the 10 million records that MC Hammer sold kept the people asleep.
Yeah.
The 1 million we sold has woken up people, and that will multiply more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It resonates.
Exactly, and that's what we did, and that's what we strive to do, and that's the beauty of it, man.
RZA, thank you.
Thank you, Briggs. Respect.